moving on to the country of Nigeria.
Ooh,
Teo, you have can you let us lead us in? Who's in
this is
what
my
corner?
time to shine. So, yes, guys, I'm going to introduce you to something really, really amazing. Because tonight we have the fight of the century of the millennial. On this side, weighing over 5,000 years worth of pain and suffering, the undefeated Lord of Darkness and Lies in person, Satan! Woo! And on this other side, weighing over 88 kilos of lies and scams, according to me, I may be wrong, the supposedly absolute champion of the spiritual world, Chukwuemeka Ohanamere. And guys, can you believe that this fight is going to totally happen? But you cannot see it, and you have to believe that Chukwuemeka Ohanamere, he totally won the fight. You didn't see that recorded, but he totally did it, guys, behind some doors. And yeah, obviously he won, and he's the new champion of the absolute spiritual realm or spiritual world. So yeah, I'm not saying, oh, another African preacher who is scamming people. No, obviously, apparently, he's the undisputed new champion of the wrestling world. Because also you should know this. This guy is known as the wrestling pastor because he tends to to hit people with chairs in order to heal them. So obviously the next the next obvious step was just to fight Satan and defeat the Lord of Lies on his own realm. So I guess, guys, we are free to sin now. We have nothing to
Yeah.
worry about. Satan was defeated.
So if I understand correctly, this guy just like walked into his church with like a heavyweight champion belt and said, "Hey guys, I won this in a fight against Satan. It was
You
totally awesome and I crushed him.
Mhm.
Celebrate
Yeah.
me."
you understand it correctly, I think. Yes,
Yeah,
that is
it's
what happened.
it's so crazy. I feel the need to clarify. Like, okay, this is really this is really what we're talking about. Like, this is really something that happened.
Yeah,
I
it is. So yeah, please go ahead and look at ghgossip.com. Down below there'll be a link to the article. Um, so how he claims to have defeated Satan in an international spiritual wrestling match. Yeah, this I thought that was when Little Ass X made that video. When he took Satan down, that was the beating of all time. And now Jume goes to win the heavyweight title from Beelzebub. I don't get it. Who's the referee? That's what I wanted to know.
Obviously,
Who
it
was
was
the referee?
him himself. He totally crushed Satan, and Satan was on the floor, obviously. I mean, how else can he decide that he has won the battle, right? The fight, the wrestling match. Guys,
well,
please go. Oh, sorry. Go, Secular. I have a lot to talk about this guy, so
no,
please.
I was just gonna say, honestly, I'm not surprised. I know some people out there may be hearing this and think, wow, I really would have thought Satan would have done better. Um, Satan Satan has spent a few years in the mixed martial arts, arena now. I'm sure this is common knowledge to those of us that follow. But he's really stopped focusing on grapples lately. If this was a boxing match or Satan's actually gotten really into golf lately. So anybody wanna try their hand at that? But no,
I
it's just
mean,
this is silly. This is just silliness. And I mean, imagine if I walked into my work tomorrow with a belt and was just like, "Hey, so met the Loch Ness monster. Totally great monster and all. But then I kicked his ass and won this heavyweight belt. Like that would be nobody would take me seriously."
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
you're not a priest.
Maybe that's the problem. Yeah.
You're not a prophet who hits people with the chairs to heal them. That's right.
Terrible. Uh, okay, G, because I want to talk about his Wikipedia page.
yeah, no. I make jokes, but it's really not surprising. I mean, what's the big difference between this guy saying, "Yo, I totally crushed Satan. It was a smackdown of a century. Like, if only there were a pay-per-view." Like, what's the big difference between that and Joseph Smith saying, "Oh my gosh, I got these golden tablets, but you can totally never look at them. And oh no, they're not here because the angels took them back to heaven. Oh, rats, you just gotta believe me." And then
Mm-hmm.
going back a little further, what's the difference between that and Paul, the Apostle Paul, being like, "Hey, Christians, I know I just spent a lot of time like totally murdering and torturing all of you, but I was like on the Damascus Road and I saw a vision of Jesus and he told me exactly what you guys should do. So, boom, I'm in charge now." Like,
Hold up.
real
You're not saying you're not you're not saying some of this might be made up, are you?
I mean, if we want to go with Occam's razor, it's the
Yeah,
easiest explanation.
Probably.
And
Jesus totally rose up from the dead. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
why his body's not there.
but what I find most interesting is that like we see this all the time. I mean, I've lived in cities. I have walked past so many people shouting on the corners saying that they are the son of God. And we as a society often I mean, they don't have churches or homes. They're mentally ill. They are houseless. In society it feels like if you claim to be one of these prophets and have these massive hallucinations of God, you're either treated as less than human, or you're given a church and a cult, and like it's that just it just blows my mind. It seems like the more charismatic you are, the more likely it is that you're going to end up with a lot of power and influence and less likely to end up on the street. And I feel bad for the victims, for the people who follow them. And I say that regardless of whether or not they genuinely believe in what they're saying, or if they're just con artists. Like I think this guy is, and like Joseph Smith totally was. Jury's still out on Paul.
Yeah. Teo, you wanted
Yeah,
to go about talk about this guy's Wikipedia.
yeah, yeah. Because we in here before we have already talked about other African scammers. Apparently, it's way too common over there. People for some reason get deceived. I don't know if easier or they have different approach that they are going to believe anything. Do you remember this guy who buried someone because they were going to revive them and kill them? Anyways, if you check the Wikipedia page of this guy, he has a huge history of being unorthodox. Not only healing people by hitting them with chairs. He had been accused of stagging some miracles. Sadly, for the person who told everybody about that, he cursed her, and she got a disease. So now everybody believes the curse. So it's very, very sad. And yeah, the guy said that he would never forgive her, he would never let her be healed, and that he was going to make sure that every single member of her family got under the same curse. So there you have that Christian love to the others. His whole service is a mess. He used profanity, awful music. He steps on the money that people throw at him. He was married with the daughter of an infamous black magician. He said something about for the former prime minister of, I'm going to butcher this, Aaron Dizogu. He claimed that he was insignificant and that he had achieved nothing substantial. He made fun of people from a place that said that it has nothing important, no millionaires. And the most important thing, he threatened to kill anyone writing negative things about him, because obviously he has spiritual powers and he's going to kill us all, especially me, because I wrote this and I'm saying this about him. And he's going to kill us, especially me, spiritually. So guys, if I die, it's because this African guy who defeated Satan on wrestling.
Teo, you're just dying a little bit inside. That's all.
Well, that already happened, so nothing to do there.
Yeah,
We've
no,
all
it-
been
it-
guy. No, please.
Go, yeah, please.
I know. I
Well,
was just gonna say we've all been dying since we were born. So it's how soon that happens is whether they can claim that it was God or not. I don't know.
Oh,
yeah,
I have to
because
tell you, in my current quest of becoming a digital god, because that's a total thing, guys. I have predicted my death. I'm going to die, and everybody can know this. In the next 100 years, I'm going to die, and this is a prophecy that you're going to see 100% fulfilled. I'm totally
Mhm.
telling the truth here. I'm a prophet, guys. So
Hmm.
respect me here. Respect me. Give me your money.
yeah, I it saddens me and it worries me when again and again. Was it last month we were talking about the pastor in Jamaica who on his way to the court to be tried for murder, um, well, got in a car accident and died. And then before that, in South Africa, I think you were mentioning it, the gentleman who had claimed that he was the reincarnation of Jesus, and so wanted to be buried alive, and then he would rise again. He did not. Um, this is just
Shocking.
I I don't know. It is how much incredulity is there in the world for all of or credulity, I should say. Incredulity not enough, credulity way too much.
Mhm.
And I
You know,
So
I think that's,
please.
it's a good point you're going to here, which is, um, it is silly, and we all laugh about it, and honestly, we'll all probably go to bed tonight and wake up to morning, tomorrow morning and remember it and be like, oh my gosh, that is silly, and giggle once more. But the harm is real, people. The harm is palpable. It's tangible. It's right here. It's happening because the first thing is your pastor walks in with a heavyweight belt that he just bought at some toy store, and he says, "I beat up Satan, hooray!" And then you go, "Oh, that's so great. That's so great, Jesus." And then he says, "And by the way, there are demons all over the city, but don't worry, I'm protecting you because of Jesus." And you go, "Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic." And then he says, "And actually, the demons are in that person, and we need to go get them." And
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 they
we
kill the
we
person.
right, and we have to be vigilant on this. I think it's worthwhile to laugh and poke fun and let off some steam, but also remember the seriousness that does come from stuff like this.
yeah.
Personally, I get very, very worried. Sorry, G, I keep cutting you off.
No, no, no,
Um,
no, not at all.
okay, I get extremely worried. Today I started, I'm not giving names, so I'm not promoting, but I started a show similar to this where I speak with people about interesting stuff that happens, pero en español, in Spanish. And we were talking about something very similar. There in Costa Rica, there was this Peruvian woman who is a pastor, and she said that there was a meteorite that was going to kill everybody who didn't go to the mountains, and that there were going to be a lot of earthquakes, and people panicked and they went to the mountains, and then nothing happened, and she ran away from the country, and people keep defending her instead of holding her accountable for what she did. People keep defending her. It's awful. It's terrible. People, what do you need to stop believing these stupid things? What do you need?
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
Yeah.
what
Mhm.
worries me so
And
much.
the last thing that I really wanted to say was I wanted to do just a little bit of a correction on something that I said maybe 10 minutes ago, or really more just sort of elaborate on it. Um, it seems like there's really two plausible scenarios in situations like this, which is one, there is a person in power telling people what to do and they genuinely believe what they're saying, or they're con artists and they're doing all of this for power. And in both instances I said that I truly feel sorry for the people who believe them and the people who follow them, because it is very dangerous. But also, if they genuinely believe what they're saying, then they are also the victims as well. Like they don't have that agency. If they are 100% sure that they are telling the truth, then really, if anything, they're sort of the victims of our whole society that says that believing untrue things is totally normal and rational. and it is funny. I mean, it's funny that this dude literally bought a toy belt and said, "Yo, I just beat up Satan." Like that's crazy. Never mind the fact that like Satan as an individual is not even biblical when you go into the Old Testament. Like Satan's a description. It's not a name. There's no dude named Satan. But I digress. It's just it's really sad, and there are very real consequences across the board, and that's anything from somebody literally burying themselves alive to other people thinking that it's okay to harass women on beaches because they believe the wrong god, or a sheriff arresting you and not treating you fairly because you've got a Darwin sticker on your car. I mean, it all comes back to the same thing, which is that these beliefs, they when you believe things that aren't true, you will believe almost anything. It also goes back to, who is it, Voltaire, who said that those who make you believe absurdities will make you commit atrocities.
Mhm.
I don't want to commit a slippery slope fallacy, but it's all connected, and that's why it's so important that we talk about this stuff and encourage free thought.
The final thing, these type of people who convince you of silly stuff, they propagate this agenda anti-science because science is kind of going against their beliefs and all of that, are partly responsible for the huge anti-science movement that we are seeing nowadays, and that has us in this not very good situation nowadays. So yeah, it's all connected. It's a huge snowball of harms of religion over harms of religion over harm that end up harming all of us, not only believers who are going to fall for that BS, but we, the ones who don't believe, we're also victims of those people believing and taking actions against us and against everybody else who either believes something different than them, or that they do stuff that harm us, such as keep propagating COVID, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck dealing with a pandemic or climate change when people think God is in control.
Uh,
What were you gonna say, Secular?
My final thoughts on it, really, I just want to speak directly to Satan, and I want to say, you don't get discouraged, okay, man? Okay? You've put in a lot of work. It took you a long time to get here. You had one bad match. Get back in the ring, bro. I'm looking forward to round 2. Satan all the way.
Okay.
Next time, just record it,
So,
Satan.
all right.